All right.
We are live.
I met Jess, and I don't even remember your name.
Annie.
Come on. Annie?
Annie.
All right. This is Antonino, of course.
Hello.
And we are thrilled to be here because we've not interviewed anybody in foods or baking or anything like that. And I think this is kind of a cool, very cool angle to go. Your story is what we want to capture. And every business, like Antonino was just saying a minute ago, every business owner that we kind of pair up with, they've got these trials and tribulations and joy and sorrow. You know, it's just a mix of everything, and that's the kind of stuff that we love sharing with our audience. And cannot wait to jump into this story. And maybe you can tell us a little bit about how you got into this, a little bit about how you started, and let's just let it roll from there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I started making bagels in my parents' basement in 2015. It was just me, and I was selling them at the farmer's market, and it was really popular. People liked the bagels. I couldn't keep up. My brother at the time was working as a server, and I really just made him help me. I was like, you're coming here and helping me. So my brother came on, he started helping me make bagels, and long story short, just found this storefront in Bridgewater, opened in 2016. Really did not have plans to open a storefront. It wasn't like on my radar. I just like kind of went with like the role of it all. I was just like, okay. So we opened about a year later. April 2016 was when the store opened. And slowly but surely, we'll be 8 years open this April. It feels like 35 years, maybe more, I don't know. But so many things have happened, and I can't even, from then till now, there's a lot of stuff that's happened. But let's see, so yeah, we just kept adding more and more to the menu, kept adding more and more employees. Then I met this girl here in, I don't even know,
2018
or 2017. She's also a pastry chef by trade, and we just kind of like hit it off right away. And she kind of became my like right-hand man. She was like at first the manager, and then
I was making pastries for a little while.
Yeah. And then we just became partners in life, and then she just this past year bought into the business, and
Cool.
now she owns some of it with me.
Wow. So now you're really committed.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And we're neighbors.
That's
Ah,
We
how
live
about
across
that?
the street from each other, yeah.
You
That's
can't even
really cool.
escape each other at this point.
We don't want to.
Even
No,
if
we
you
don't.
wanted to.
No.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So how did you, so let me back up a minute. Bridgewater has always been this going through transitions all the time. This cool little vibey, back and forth kind of a thing. How did you settle on Bridgewater, and how did you find it, and how did you get this location?
I actually, so like I said, I was at the Beaver Farmers Market. What happened was I live in Beaver, and I was going to Giant Eagle, and I just drove by, and I saw a for rent sign in the window.
Yeah.
And it was actually for the pizza shop that is now Vic's Oven. And I pulled over, and I put my face to the window, and I saw Vic inside, and I like knocked on the door, and he was like, no, I already rented it, and it's going to be a pizza place. And I was like, oh, okay. And then he's like, but there's a little place next door that's connected that I'm not going to use if you want to call the landlord about it. And it was this little tiny, like 2-room, I think it was like 400 square feet, had carpet. And he told me the rent, and I walked in, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. Because I was planning on still making the bagels at my parents' house and just like selling them, like whatever. And then, and the rent is very affordable down here in Bridgewater, and it's really a great community. Like everyone on the street just is very supportive of everyone, and I don't know, I couldn't be happier. Everyone's like, oh, you're going to move to Beaver eventually, right? And we're like, no, we like it down here. It's
I think
good vibes.
Beaver's really neat, and it's a county seat and everything like that. But Bridgewater's like this little nestled neighboring community that just the storefronts and things like that. I can remember a long time ago when they had the facade money, and they redid like Pier 19 and stuff like that, and it was pretty cool. So we're glad you're here. We're glad to have this opportunity to sit down and talk with you guys.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I come from a very Italian family, so we love food. We love pastries. We love desserts. But we're not big in the bagels. So I am curious, like, is this a family thing? Like, was your background as like a pastry chef? How did you get started in making bagels in your parents' basement?
Honestly, it was just very strange. Like I said, I went to pastry school. I was making pastries at a local ice cream store. Actually, I was selling like pastries there, and I just needed something else to sell to like provide for myself. And I thought about the farmer's market, and I was just thinking of something that was like shelf stable, like items. I know there was already a bread place there, so I just thought about bagels, and I just made a couple recipes and took them to people, and they're like, these are really good. I was never thinking that it was going to be like it is now. I really wasn't. I'm glad. It's really fun. But, yeah, that's kind of how it happened. But I wasn't, like, trained in making bagels specifically, just messed around with recipes until I found one that I liked. They're not traditional, per se, traditional New York style bagels, but we do things a little bit differently.
Oh, that's cool.
They're Bridgewater style.
Bridgewater style bagels.
That's pretty cool.
Well, checking over your menu, I saw all these different fabulous things that you squeeze between these little wonderful bagels too. And they're not little; they're big bagels, and more than a mouthful. It looks like good stuff. Tell us a little bit about how you come up with naming for these, and how do you come up with how flavors are going to be good together?
You want to take this one?
Sure. Well, I think a lot of them have been on the menu since the beginning. When she started, it was just cream cheese. When I started, you guys had started doing you just started doing the deli sandwiches, but you had been doing the egg sandwiches for a little bit. And so there's some like tried and true, just like really delicious classic flavor pairings, like the all everything and the mixed berry and stuff like that. And then I don't know, I think we just like, when we started working together, Jess was like, we like to change the menu and have a couple specials every month. And we do a sweet and we do a savory. And I get really excited about eating. We just kind of like bounce things off each other, like things from our past. Like one time we did a veggie pizza inspired bagel.
Inspired by like the crescent roll. I'm sure you had it.
The like veggie pizza
with the like ranch dip on it.
So sometimes they get weird.
Yeah, they do get weird. We had a hot dog one that had like, it was a picnic one. It had hot dogs, potato salad,
baked beans, potato chips.
Surprisingly good.
Wow.
But honestly,
cool.
too, like people will just be shouting out like things that they like to eat. There's 20 people that work here collectively, and someone will be like, oh, we should do like, X, Y, and Z, and then we'll piece it together.
And there's a lot that were once specials that now just live on the menu permanently, that are just like fan favorites that needed a place to stay.
Yeah.
Right.
That is pretty cool. So is it like, how long does something stay on the menu for? Is it like if you do trial and error, try it, see how the customers like it, throw
if
it off?
If it's a special, we usually keep it on for like a month. It's just for the month.
And some of the specials come back every year and are like,
people wait for them.
Yeah.
Like this month.
This month we have the gobbler, which is our Thanksgiving special.
That's pretty cool.
Stuffing, and we roast turkeys and like do the whole thing. And then there's other ones like the veggie pizza one that we probably won't do again. Because they weren't like a hot seller. So,
well, besides having, really nice place for people to come and enjoy these things, you also do catering, or you make available different things to go outside of here. Talk a little bit about that side of the business.
We don't technically have like a catering menu, but I think that bagels are a very easy go option.
Right.
Like, it's easy to get a bunch of bagels, side of cream cheese. Everybody can kind of do it themselves. We do, we have done some really nice boxes for people, sandwich wise, but I think that bagels just like are a good grab and go thing.
Sure.
Like, I lived in New York for a while, and everybody's walking down the street eating a bagel. It's just easy. So I think it's it's easy for us to offer a grab and go option.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say we don't really have catering per se, but like she said, we can, but we do sell wholesale bagels to other coffee shops and things like that we deliver bagels to around the area. Like on Fridays we deliver, she goes one way, I go the other. She goes all the way downtown Pittsburgh, Cranberry, and then I usually go out towards, like we go all the way to Ohio to Ohio Donut and One Hot Cookie and Ohio Donut. It's like out in like Youngstown.
That's cool. So you do have a pretty nice range of where you serve people. Mm-hmm. Very cool.
That is cool. So is that like, I'm curious about the business model. So obviously you have like the brick and mortar where people come in, order a bagel, eat here or leave. But then so I live down in the Strip District, and La Prima coffee is like very popular, and like a lot of restaurants there will serve La Prima coffee. So to think that like a bagel, like, a Beaver Bagel is being served in a restaurant or other coffee shop, that's pretty cool. So do you have plans to kind of expand that outside of Pittsburgh or like Pennsylvania? Like how far do you want to expand that?
We don't have plans per se, but we're always open to where the roads take us. But pretty much all the places that we deliver to have emailed us and been like, hey, like we really haven't reached out to anyone. It's usually people just word of mouth have come to us, but it's just us two delivering, so we really don't want to like take on too much. But we're big on just going where the roads take us. At least I am. I don't like to plan too far down the road, which is like not a good way to be.
I don't think that's true.
Well,
everyone's always like, you gotta have plans, but
the roadmap, okay, on the marketing side and like business development side, having a plan, having a strategy, that's kind of like the 30,000 foot level, looking on where you want to take things and how you want to do these things. But then you get tied up in the day to day as well, with, I don't know, staffing situations, things like that. A lot of clients I serve right now, it doesn't matter if it's CDL drivers or people that where they need administrative support, like in a law office or something like that. Everybody goes through all these different challenges. Annie, one of the things you said earlier was you said, I cried this morning. And I said tears of joy, right? Because it's always tears of joy. What's going on? Is that something you can share and talk about?
It's just, we are challenged every day.
Yeah.
And we are challenged differently now than we were 6 months ago and a year ago and 3 years ago. Yeah. And it's just like, we're human beings also. And we opened a new business. Yeah. We deliver bagels. We break down cardboard boxes and take them to the recycling. We manage people. There's all of these different layers, and I think it's just like sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming, but I am lucky, and every day, so lucky that I get to do it with her, because without her, I wouldn't be here. Yeah, and vice versa, because it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of weight to hold for one person. Like she said, we wear a lot of different hats, and it can be a very lot to handle on your own. So I don't think that we would be here like if I hadn't met her. So
yeah,
the other way.
It's running a business is tough. I just had this discussion yesterday with a colleague, and someone had asked me, where you were in 2017 compared to now, is it easier? And I said, the stressors I had back in 2017 don't exist now. Yeah. But like the stress is a whole different type of stress. It's like, okay, I don't have to worry about getting, I run a software business. I don't have to worry about writing code every day, but like I'm worried about, can I make payroll? Can I manage these people? Like, is someone doing their job? Someone's out sick, what, it's a whole nother like game plan, and people don't realize they think that. That's why I sometimes take things personally when people come in and they complain about, serve or something. I'm like I actually am trying my hardest.
Mm-hmm.
You actually have no idea. I've been up since 6 a.m. trying to get stuff done.
Yeah.
And it's a challenge. It's a battle every day.
100. No, we feel you.
The reason I asked that question is that little bit of emotion, I can tell, I can feed off of that emotion. And those are the things that so many people that start to think about, maybe they're working in the corporate world now and they're passionate about something and they want to get into this. And oftentimes they don't see that side of it. They only think of how wonderful this is going to be. And man, one phone call changes everything. One slip up changes everything. One nasty person on the other end of a phone call, it kind of sets the tone, if you allow it to, for the rest of the day. But like you said, when you're with good people, you can kind of persevere through things and stay focused on that, that 30,000 foot level goal. But it's important. The cool thing is, I think through Boss Juice podcast is we love to show real. And this is exactly what we're capturing right now. You're two very real people with a cool story. And we're just glad you're willing to share some of that too. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think just things I was thinking about when you were talking was like the reason that we started, like this was all started because I like to bake. And ask me the last time I got to bake anything. I have not baked anything like personally in years, and it's actually really funny that that's my story now.
Yeah.
But I think and that's her trade too. I mean, she went to pastry school and we're in the kitchen, we're in it, but it's not what we were originally here to do. But I also think that we oftentimes come back to every day, if we're having a rough day or whatever, we just are like, why do we do this? It's because we love it. And we remind ourselves that all the time. We're like, why do we do this? Because we love to eat. We love to create good food. We love this business, the restaurant business. And so when we have this crazy idea, we're like, are we crazy for doing this? Yes, we are. We're about to create so much chaos, but we don't care because we love it.
Because if we're not moving forward, what are we doing?
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And if we're not staying fresh and excited about what we're doing, there's really no point in it. So
the other aspect too is I think that it's about making people happy too.
Yes.
You really want them to enjoy your product. It's the same thing with me with the marketing and branding business. I love my clients and I love doing a great job for them. And when they're really good people, it makes you work harder for them. And I think it's the same thing here. You're working on really unique products. They are. You're offering up different types of things for them, but I think you want to bring out the best every time in what you have.
We take it very seriously.
yes, yeah, we do.
And we have so many customers that we are built on regulars, people who come back. We have one guy who comes in here or the bagel shop every single day. And people who have been with us since the beginning. And we want to make them proud and make sure that they're getting the same thing, if not better, every single time they come back.
Well, they become your silent salespeople too.
Yes.
They're your ambassadors out there, talking about something. It may be a funny story. It might be something you share with them or whatever, but that's what makes this really cool and unique. There's a lot of other places that serve bagels and things like that or bake them. But you've got your own story. And that's the cool thing when you have people like that who are your regulars that really love you and love what it is you offer. They become your silent salespeople. You can market as much as you want, but I think it's good to have that base of people that are going to be out there pushing for you all the time.
Yeah. And I think that we have a really good crew of people that the service, I feel is a lot of the times the reason, the food is great too. But the service is an equal part of what we do, at least at Beaver Bagel in the market too. But people come in, they know, it's a small town and people are chatting and it's good vibes in there.
Talk about that a little bit. You just mentioned Beaver Bagel and the market. Explain that so people know exactly what that means.
So we since we've been working together, we've always talked about doing more and doing more, things that we want to do because we feel if we do things that we're passionate about, that other people will enjoy it too. So we've been talking about doing more for a while, and this space became available, and we kind of needed more space for the bagel shop, and we were But anyway, we opened the market June 1st, so just a couple months ago. And we do grab and go, salads, sides, things that we just like want to eat, you know? Fast, which is like something that the bagel shop is maybe not known for, as being super fast, because we do make everything like hot and fresh. Like when you order a sandwich, we're cracking the egg. I mean, it's gonna take a little bit. We've gotten better over time at making it faster with online ordering and stuff like that. But here, our goal was to like have healthy, fast options for people in a hurry, like on their lunch break, or I don't know. We have a lot of vegan, gluten-free options. And then we also have like some specialty retail stuff that we're excited about. Other small businesses.
Well, I think that bodes really well into like lifestyle too. Everybody's busy in every direction. You know, Dylan, who helps pull all of this together, asking me, you know, how's it going? How's it? You know, I'm like, man, I'm pulled in so many different directions between hockey and soccer and, you know, and basketball and everything like that. You get yanked in a lot of different directions, and your lifestyle, everything starts to change. So you look for little things that are going to complement and help what it is that you've got to take care of every day. And I think that's cool that you've got walk-in opportunity, and they can grab something that's fresh and fairly healthy. You know, if you got salads to go and things like that.
And we
The other thing I just want to add in too, because it's probably not going to be talked about, but they did a great job recently sending, I saw like sent a check to the dairy farm that just burnt down. I think that's amazing.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
Community entrepreneurship together achieving great things. So,
So how did you do that, and why did you do that? You're talking about
I'm not sure.
Brenton Dairy.
Yeah.
You think they can hear what was said on the mics?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So Brenton Dairy Farm was a farm that's been around for 100 plus years, right? And they served local residents and businesses with fresh milk products, right? And they just lost everything the beginning of the week. So you guys, and Dylan, I'm glad you brought that up. You guys you pulled it upon yourself, took it upon yourself to kind of do a little give back. Talk about that for a minute.
I mean, it wasn't just us two. I mean, it was the whole community, really. It was like feeding off of everyone else's energy of like, oh my gosh, we love them so much. Like other businesses that we work with too, everyone was like, what can we do? What can we do? And
we just made a quick decision Friday morning, which is usually the morning we get our dairy delivery from her, and it was the day after, and I was just like, I wish we could do something. What should we do? We were like, I don't know. I said, maybe we should do like a fundraiser. And Jess was like, let's just donate part of what we make the next 3 days to the dairy.
and
so
we were
that's what we did.
busy.
The community came out for them and
Yeah.
spent money at Beaver Bagel to support Brenton's Dairy.
And we also had like a bucket, and that was full of money that went right there.
Yeah.
We had people who, one of the girls was telling me that she said she accidentally rung them out for something that they didn't get, and she was like, oh, let me refund you. And he was like, no, keep it in there because I want to give it to Brenton's. So, I mean,
nice.
people were
It's really
just
nice, yeah.
coming out, which was amazing.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Isn't it cool, that humanitarian kind of thing? As a nation, we get divided on all of these different things, right? But when something happens like that in these communities, isn't it cool to see, as Americans, we all pull together? That same night, I was bringing my son home from basketball practice, and we live in Hopewell. It's not too far from where the dairy farm fire was. So the firemen are still out there doing everything like that. I said, let's ride out towards there and just see what we can see. And not to get in anybody's way or anything like that, but one of the most interesting things that my son Enzo and I saw was there were trucks coming the other direction with livestock trailers, and they had all volunteered to go help to relocate and house these different animals, mostly the cows that they had at the dairy.
Yeah.
And I thought, how cool, you know. Last second, people pull together in a really big way, and nobody expects anything back. You know, you do this out of the kindness of your heart. It's a really good thing. It's a really neat thing to see, and I'm glad you guys kind of hopped on board with the people that you had a business relationship, and hopefully you will continue to be able to work with them.
100.
So very cool.
That's awesome. So obviously your store is here, but did you guys grow up here? Like, you have like a deeper connection to the area, or?
I would love to tell the story about how we met.
Please do. Please do.
Let's hear it.
So Jess was doing the bagel shop. She was here. She had moved back. You can tell your side, but you were in Chicago.
Well, I'm from here. I grew up here. I did leave for a little bit, but I did come back. My family's here. My husband's family's here. So we were here. And that's why I was here then.
I was living in New York for a while after pastry school, and my sister bought a house in Beaver and had a kid, and I was like, oh, I want to be closer to my family, so I moved. I'm from Moon originally. I moved back.
That's a long distance. How'd you get here?
From the
Rocket?
Yeah. But I never in a million years thought I would be in Beaver growing up. And then I had plans to potentially open my own bakery or something resembling that. Mm-hmm. So I was baking some stuff out of my sister's basement kitchen, which I had gotten certified and was doing that whole thing. And I, at one point, was just like, I need a bagel. Like, I need bagel in my body. And the only place that popped up when I Googled it was Beaver Bagel. So I went down and I walked in and I was like, this place is super cute. And they're just like doing it right. And the food is delicious. And I was like fangirling real hard about it. And then life went on. I was moving, and the landlord one day was chatting with me and was just like, what do you do? I explained to him. He was like, oh, have you been to Beaver Bagel? And I was like, yeah. He was like, do you know Jess? Like, do you know the store? And I was like, no. He was like, you should definitely email her and like get in touch. She might be able to like help you with opening something up. And I was like, okay, cool, whatever. My brother-in-law was also like, you need to email the bagel shop. She's a female business owner, small business, like get in touch. And I was like, okay, whatever. And then the guy who was installing our internet at the apartment was asking me what I was doing. And he was like, oh, have you heard about Beaver Bagel? And I was like, yes. He said, you should talk to her. You should email her or call her and, see if she can help you in any way. And I was like, okay. So, like, so many people have told me at this point that I need to contact this woman. So I sent her an email, and she thought it was spam.
I got it, and I literally was like, this is spam. Because it was so nice. Yeah. And I was just like, it was like this long email about stuff, and I was like, meh.
I was just like, my name is Annie. This is who I am. This is where I've been. I'm a big fan. I would love to like just chat with you if you have time, if you have any like advice on opening a small business. So I came down, and I remember exactly where we sat, and we fell in love immediately. Yep. And from then on, I think we just like kind of wanted to figure out a way to work together, and we tried so hard to figure it out that it wasn't working. And she graciously allowed me to do a dessert night one night at the bagel shop where I presented my baked goods.
Oh, cool.
And from there, I just kind of was like, getting sad working alone. And I was like, can I help you down there with anything? And so I came down and made the pastries a couple days a week for a little while. And then I was like, but we could do more. And I was like, then I started managing the shop, and then,
She's just a doer. She gets in there and she's just doing. So I feel like you just came in and you just started
doing.
She's a doer.
But we balance each other out so well. Mm-hmm. Like, I think that I've learned a lot from her. She's learned a lot from me. My background is different than her background, and I just like genuinely don't think that Beaver Bagel would be what it is today had we not had each other.
It's like a little bit of like you have that like security blanket when you have like a partner to do it with, because like before you're kind of like making all those leaps and by yourself, and you're like, you have all these questions like, is this a good idea? I don't know. Like, who can I ask? Like, is this a good idea? And I was putting a lot on my husband. I was putting a lot on my parents, like my brother. I was just like, and if that's not what you want, then it's kind of hard to, like, my husband works at FedEx, like he doesn't know about bagels. He'll give me his advice, but I mean it's something to have someone who's in it with you that you can really just like that they have your back, and like it's just it's a whole other sense of comfort.
It's lonely at the top.
It's really lonely.
Yeah. Like, for lack of a better term, it's just, I think we've both been there. It's like, I ask him for advice, and our businesses are very different, but it's just because, like, sometimes people don't, I mean this in the nicest way, like family and friends, they always ask, how was your day? What did you do? And it's like, it's very hard to relate because they have a 9 to 5. I'm not talking down on a 9 to 5. I had one for a long time, but there is a difference between, like, being the decision maker where like the buck stops at you, and it's like you feel responsible for everything.
Yes.
So it's tough.
We talk about decision fatigue a lot.
Yes.
I like that term.
Yeah.
Explain that.
When you spend, you spend all day making decisions. Like, no one is going to tell us what the right thing is or what the wrong thing is. It's we get to decide. And it makes it a lot easier that there's the two of us. But sometimes it makes it more difficult because obviously we're different people. We have different opinions about stuff. And there's a sea of people who are looking to us for answers. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I say one thing and she says another. Neither one is right or wrong. But then you have that added layer of, she said one thing, I said something else, they're confused, and then we have to resolve it, and ends up making more work anyway. But
you go home and your husband says, "What's for dinner?"
And you're like, "Don't talk to me about anything."
Have a bagel.
Yeah, exactly.
I just figure it out.
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned, though, about how that you guys work together so well and you really rely on each other. Antonino and I, we've kind of formed that sort of relationship as well. We have a standing every Friday, kind of 10 o'clock in the morning, whether we're together or apart, we have these little get-togethers. And we talk about Boss Juice, but we talk about 95 other things besides that, too. Mm-hmm. I had a business partner I worked with for like 10 years, and we talked all the time the same way Antonino and I do. His name was Jim Valenti, and Jim unfortunately passed away like a year and a half ago. And one of Jim's saying was, do good, just do good. He's just a great man, great husband, great dad, great everything. And so I actually had do good tattooed on my knuckles. So that's how close I get so much exactly what you're talking about, how you rely on one another. And there are times when people butt heads and disagree, but man, isn't it comforting to have that resource? I worked in the corporate world for 20 plus years and exited in 2009 to start my own business. And there are things that I miss are like the water cooler talk, if that's even a thing anymore, but like where you're able to just exchange ideas and have somebody to bounce it off to. You said, man, it's lonely at the top. Yeah. It's lonely when you're in charge of everything, but when you can rely on another really good quality person that you love and, really respect, that's such a big deal. And the reason I'm stressing this or putting this little backdrop in is it's so important, I think, for our audience to understand that too. When you surround yourself with really good people. So yeah, it's cool. I'm glad you brought that up and explained that little piece of the connection that you guys have. That's cool.
And I think like over the years, like just doing this, it's taught me, and I think her as well, just like the art of communication. Sure. And how important it is. Really? Like just how important it is in all areas of your life. Just working with people and just, I don't know, explaining yourself and just listening to people. And yeah, I just feel like owning a business kind of teaches you about humans more than like just human relations, more than anything.
Isn't it cool though when you're that tight with a person that you really don't have to explain everything verbatim? Mm-hmm. You start to talk and they get it, and you're like, oh my gosh, thank goodness. So thankful to have people around me like that.
I told her this morning, she looked at me. She just looked at me, and I said, I know exactly what you're saying right now.
She gave you the look.
Yeah, there were eyes, and I said, I know what you're saying. I got it.
That's so funny.
And there's in life, too, it ebbs and flows, and there are times when I feel like I could carry more. I'm sure you've heard this before, like the different percentages like of marriage, and it's just there are times when I feel like I can carry so much, and she maybe can't carry as much, and I will gladly carry that for her. And then there are times when I'm like, Annie, I can't take one more thing. Like, I need you to take this, and it's so relieving to know that that's there.
And it's such a special relationship because I think we both just go, got it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
don't say no more.
Yeah.
I'm on it.
Yeah.
That's cool. I love the story behind how you two have built this into something really cool. And Antonino was kind of leading to, what's the future look like? And I know that's hard because sometimes you can't look past like this afternoon, But yeah, it'll be cool to see where you guys go with things and how far you take it. I think that this expansion you did with the market, with the fresh products and the fact that you source locally is a really neat thing to share with people. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
For sure. I mean, I'm not from around here, but Dylan has spoken very highly of the place. So,
Yeah.
you hear great things, which is awesome. But I have to ask him, this is a curious question. So, you're very much in the service industry in that you serve people every day. What is it like? I know you say you have a lot of regulars, but what's it like dealing with, I guess I'm going to use the term unruly customers? I'm sure that has to happen, and I bring that up because I think that's the thing that people don't realize when they start a business. Like, you think it's all going to be sunshine and rainbows, and sometimes there's...
And especially the food industry too.
Sure.
Well, I'll start, but I'm sure you have things too. But I will say at the beginning of this whole thing, I was very much the customer is always right. We will do everything to make them happy because I just was like, that's just the way I was.
Mm-hmm.
I will say over time, I've gotten to the place where I'm like, you know what? The customer is not always right, unfortunately. We do have some difficult people, but I just know that like the staff that we have is amazing. And they don't deserve to be treated in some of the ways that we get treated over bagels being toasted properly, or just the things that people get upset about are things that are just maybe coming out at the person who's toasting their bagel. Maybe it's like a deeper rooted thing. And so we do try our best to remain calm, but they know that we have their back if something, for the most part, like she said, we've got a pretty good group of people, but I cried once in the last year over a customer.
I can remember a very specific review left about something that I said during COVID that will stick with me forever. It just makes you laugh, though, at this point. Like, you have to laugh at it
Sure.
because we're making bagels. Like,
we're trying.
We are
hard.
We are putting our heart and soul into it, for sure, but we are making bagels. So, like, for somebody to be so upset that they can't get their bagel, that they have to write a very nasty review on the internet.
Someone threw a chair once in the courtyard
Oh, yes.
because, yeah.
Well,
Bagels.
the other side of that though is you work hard, and those negative sort of things get buried with all the good stuff from the people who do love you and appreciate everything that you do. Everybody runs into those people. That was one of the reasons why I wanted to exit the corporate world. There were times when I would see a name pop up on my phone at work, and I'd be like, "Oh, freaking A, are you kidding me? I got to deal with this again." And when I exited, I think one of the things is I would do anything to like make that cash register ring. You'd meet with all kinds of people and have coffee and all this other kind of stuff. Then business starts to happen, and then I was in a fortunate position where you could be more selective on who you want to work with. And my clients, I love all my clients. They've become like extended family to a degree, and I'm sure that's the same with a lot of the regulars that you talk about. But man, and you mentioned, Jess, like the ebb and flow. There's the hard days, there's the easy days. They're not really easy. I'll say like less complicated days.
Yeah.
You work your butt off. And I remember people saying before, like, I bet you wish you would have walked away from the corporate world a long time. Not really. That was a lot of stuff I needed to learn. I need to learn about myself, learn about people. It's the psychology of this whole thing as much as anything.
Yeah, it is.
So that's cool.
The thing that I've learned I've had to interact with customers more working at Beaver Bagel than prior in my life. And I would say that the thing that I learned is, regardless of how nasty they are to you, if you just are as kind as you can be, as level-headed, you know that they're going to walk out of there being like, man, I shouldn't have been that way.
Right.
Which feels better than ruining somebody's day. and being like, you know what, dude, you don't need to talk to me that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just kill them with kindness. And
Yep. That's
And
what
I've
you
learned
do.
too that you cannot please everyone, and if
No.
you try, you'll go crazy because you could literally be perfect
Yep.
and not please everyone because everyone's definition of what it is different, and I've gotten better at that over the years as well. Like I used to get eaten alive if someone said something bad about something. I mean, I would just stew on it for days. Like, how come I did that? Like, why was it like that? You know? And now it's like, okay, we take it, we learn from it, you know?
Yep.
Like, you can't please everyone. And I remember another restaurateur from the area told me that a couple years ago. Jason from Beaver, he said that. He was like, you can't please everyone, and you never will.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Yeah, that is my biggest hardship is like I'm still in that boat where I try to make everyone happy, and it's just like it comes at the cost of me at times. So it's very tough.
Yeah, and like you said earlier before, just like it's 24/7. It's not like you're clocking out. Like sure, you're not like physically in the building, but I mean, I'm up at ridiculous hours because I thought of something random that's really unnecessary to think of at that hour, but you can't help
you
it.
wake up
help it.
gasping.
That's what we do,
Like, oh my
right?
God.
Yeah.
You know, it's just the way that it is, and sometimes I do miss like the punch in, punch out like aspect of a job and stuff like that. But that's why we keep reminding each other why we're here, is because we're passionate about this and we like it. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree. Like you talk about the punch in, punch out. I tell a story all the time. I've told it a couple times on this show, but I had a realization like maybe 2 years ago where it was like 10 o'clock at night. I didn't realize it was 10 o'clock at night. Something popped in my head. It was stressing me out. I sent a text to one of my employees like, hey, you know, blah, blah, blah. They responded back very politely like, hey, man, it's 10:30 at night. Like, I'm with my girlfriend trying to go to bed. I'm like, oh, my God. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, you know, but like, it's like you can't help it sometimes. It's just 24/7. Like, people come in, they clock out, they go home. I go home and I'm like, what I got to do tomorrow? Like, you know,
I know.
what is going on? Like,
So true.
it's like, it never turns off.
I think on the flip side of that too, though, is that we as humans try to set boundaries too from work. And when you have 20 employees, if somebody feels like they can text you on your day off or 5 p.m. when you're out with your kid at the pumpkin patch, you know, we have to set the boundaries with the employees as well.
Sure.
Which is a weird thing that has happened over the course of like growing and getting more and more employees.
yeah,
Because everybody's stuff is the most important, you know, in that moment. They want to get it resolved and taken care of, and it's like, well, no, I'm eating dinner with my husband. We can talk about it tomorrow.
yeah,
So, and we're people that both really just like are doers and get it done. So like we understand it, but I think that we've tried harder and harder to set boundaries in the last even just like 6 months.
yeah.
Like we walk our dogs we walk our dogs every day after work. And we really try to just like not talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't, you're just
It's all the
really
time.
consumed with it, and it's just not healthy.
Yeah,
it's
you'll
just really not.
lose your mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think everybody needs that escape, whether it's a series that you're into that you're gonna watch it starting at 10:30 at night just to
Yep.
catch up on something. I need that escape. Like you go hard every day, and my mind needs a little bit of a break after a while. But then, just like you said, Jess, you know, I'll wake up in the middle of the night going, "Oh my gosh, I never thought of that," and I'll pull up my phone and start typing
Yeah.
a note. You know, and it's just like the weirdest thing, but that's how it goes.
Yeah.
You know. It's cool though. It's so weird as humans how we're wired, and especially when you've got this little entrepreneurial wiring mixed in with everything else. It's different. There is no 9 to 5 kind of a thing. It's different, and this is again. It's good to share this with people who listen to the Boss Juice podcast because who may be getting into this, or maybe they don't have the time to get out and network and connect and all that, and they want to hear some of these other things that we go through. So it's cool that you guys really share the realness of everything that you face. Real quickly, like what is a typical day because I know what my hours are and
hysterical.
how they go. Like, and I asked before about Donut Shop. You know, this lady I knew with the crazy hours that she had worked. What's like the schedule? What happens here?
Okay, so the bagels are made overnight.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a crew of 3 people. My brother still does work here, and with 2 other people. So he makes the bagels with 2 other people overnight. They usually work 4 p.m. until like midnight or 1. And then the first person to get to the bagel shop in the morning is the pastry chef, which she's gone now. But we have 2 pastry chefs now. They come in at 5. And so then they start baking because we also sell pastries at the bagel shop. So they get everything started and baked for the day. And then we usually come in around 6. The bagel shop opens at 7. And so usually you said, what's a typical day? It's funny because we've been literally trying to figure that out, honestly.
No idea.
We cannot put it on paper because it's just never the same. Mm-hmm. But generally we come in at 6. We just kind of rally the troops. People start rolling in 6:30. Get everything prepped up for the sandwiches and everything, and then we start getting tickets right at 7. And now that we have this place, we usually pop over here. If we have deliveries to make, one of us will do a delivery. If we need to go to the store, we'll go to the store. We have to place orders to get like our produce and everything, so we have a day for that. And then
Sometimes we're doing some light plumbing.
Yes,
Sometimes
fixing the
we're doing
toilets.
some, like, electrical work.
one of the letters on our sign fell off, which I still need to do. It's in the gutter. One of our neighbors texted. He's like, from your sign is in the gutter, so I have to do that. But so yeah, there's that, and then just you come over here, see what needs made. We do have like an amazing crew of people that pretty much like do it all, but we're kind of just like the extra set of eyes to make sure everything's like in order. And then we get our deliveries. We're putting those away. We do a lot of recycling here, so we do a lot of cardboard breaking down. Sometimes we feel like we're just buried in cardboard. Always just go look at her trunk right now.
Yeah.
Cardboard. What else do we do?
We're at the market. We just this week are open 7 days a week.
Yeah.
7 days a week.
And we changed our hours slightly. We're open a little bit early now. So we figured we're here 7 days a week. Might as well be open
Right.
7 days a week. So we have a small crew here. Stephanie runs the front, and then a couple of gals in the back who are doing the prep for the market. Prep.
We're roasting turkeys.
Yeah.
We're making sure
gravy.
Yeah. Getting people Serve Safe certified. We are. What else are we doing? We're just
Managing the
like,
wholesale.
managing wholesale.
Making schedules, doing payroll.
So you're really not doing much.
Collecting all of the
payroll schedules,
receipts, that kind of stuff.
billing.
Yeah, it's just,
Ugh.
I'm
we do
still,
have like a little bit of a routine. Like there's certain days where certain things have to happen, obviously, but you're putting out fires.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's why you cry, because you
Yes.
can't really even figure
There's
out what
too
you're
much.
supposed to be doing, because your brain is just like, bleh.
well, I'm still stuck on that one thing that you mentioned a little bit ago. Why did the O decide to drop
I
off
know.
of the
That's
name?
what I'm saying. I don't know.
That's the weirdest
just
thing.
blew off.
Yeah.
We were just talking about the sign too, and like maybe buying a new one, and I was like, no, we could just like keep fixing it, and then it must have hurt us. And
Well, yeah, over
the O
the
just
years,
popped
the
right
letters
off.
slowly have just keep on popping off, and I'll have like random people climb up there and like we'll just like screw it in, and all the letters are just like it's not straight anymore, but it still says what it needs to say. But
It adds flavor, you know.
yeah, it adds a little.
character.
No pun intended.
Yeah,
huh?
there you go.
That was really cute.
See, don't every time I'm not creative, man.
Seriously.
Yes.
Oh, he is. Anthony, though, he's creative.
But yeah, that's cool. One thing you had mentioned was, you said that you have a great staff that kind of helps get everything done on the day to day, and you kind of oversee everything. So, if you don't mind, kind of talking about how long it took, to kind of get there, because when you first start, obviously it's either you're by yourself or you have family, friends helping out, and it takes a while to kind of get to a point where you can have a reliable staff. At least in my experience, there's been a lot of turnover. Kind of going through different people that didn't work out for various different reasons. So how was that journey? Do you find that to be easy or
it's,
difficult?
No, so hard. Well, so yes, first and foremost, like starting out without family, I would not be here.
Sure.
Because my family was there. I mean, they were just there. Like aunts, cousins, they were there. Brother. But yeah, slowly it was kind of just like, okay, I can't do this all by myself. And then I think our first employee was just like a family friend who actually still works here all those many years later. But we were so lucky for the longest time. We had people that were here for like 5 years. It was just like, it was like a family. And slowly, you know, people get older and lives change and go in different directions. And we've more recently just had more of like a turnover to like a new generation, I guess you would say, of like bagel employees, which is great. I mean, like I said, we have 20 employees, which is absolutely insane. But it's just been like we honestly have not had much turnover.
We don't have a lot of turnover.
A couple people here and there that have just not like maybe liked the type of work that it is, because it is very fast paced. It's not glamorous.
Sure.
If you can't tell, it's not glamorous. There's dishes, there's cleaning. It's a down and dirty job. And sometimes people think, because we do make it look really fun, because I think it is fun for some of us. But I think a lot of times people come in and what? This is a lot of work. And you're like, yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's lots of bacon, lots of just not glamorous stuff. So
as somebody who started as a Beaver Bagel employee, I think that there are a lot of benefits to working at Beaver Bagel. We also always try to like grow. It's like a huge thing for us is making sure that our employees are well taken care of, because they're dedicating a large portion of their life to come and work for us. And I think that because we love it, we have tried to make it a place that people love to come every day. And I think that that has happened successfully. And I think that because of that, people stick around. Usually, I would say that like the average Beaver Bagel employee probably stays for at least like 2 years, 3 years. And for a company that's very young, that's a pretty long time.
I think it's cool. The fact that you said you have 20 people, you know, collectively, you know, between everything that's going on, and not only juggling, like when you said about there's order days and things like that where you need to order product and make a schedule and things like that, juggling all the people and all the things that go along with that. I applaud both of you, because I know what, with other clients I serve, what they go through too. And I'm sure it's not much different, you know, from day to day, from a staffing standpoint, how it works. But you're doing a great job.
We are lucky too, though. Like, we have a great crew of people. Like, we've really lucked out.
yeah.
I don't know if it's as much luck as the fact that maybe they migrate towards, you know, what you guys offer too. They must enjoy being around you and doing some things.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so too.
I mean, I genuinely like coming here every day.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
I mean, for the most part, like, I would be like, how lucky are we that we
Right.
get to come, make food for people, hang out with some pretty fun people, for our jobs. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah. I don't know. I thought of something I was going to say, and now I can't remember it.
It'll come back an hour after we leave.
Yeah, probably.
Too much in that brain.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
I'd like to do too is we should take a couple photos of and maybe a little video clip of the other side of this amazing place.
Yeah.
Just so people can get a feel for what this is all about. And I want to focus on the crooked ladders out front. I think that'll be great.
Well, that's at the bagel shop.
Yeah,
We're at
we're
the
going to
parking.
find it.
Oh, you'll find it.
The
'cause
what
it-
out?
The crooked letters.
Oh.
We're going to find the
Well,
crooked
and
ladders.
Yeah.
like, do you see this wall here with the racks on the back? Like, Jess and I built that wall.
Yeah.
We built it, yeah.
Like, we got the plywood and the
Contractors.
tools,
That's impressive.
And we built the wall
Hey,
ourselves.
isn't that so entrepreneurial though?
So
Seriously, you
entrepreneurial.
make it work. You
was.
find ways to make it work.
Yeah.
I actually remember when we were talking about that idea, I was at home and I was making spaghetti. And I was making spaghetti at my house with my family. And we were talking on the phone I was like, we could put plywood on shelves. And he was like, yes. And we were just like, we're crazy, literally crazy. But-
It's hard as hell to find extra time to do things, but there are times over the last, 10 years, I'm pretty regularly invited to speak to groups of people, right? And I really enjoy talking to younger people that are in entrepreneurial targeted classes and things like that, and maybe they're in high school or early college and trying to figure out where they want to go. But these are the kind of things that they need to see and hear too. So if you ever get an opportunity and you're invited to speak, and I think us sharing, your information on the Boss Juice podcast will be a big deal. But if you ever get that opportunity, I think it would be really cool for younger people to hear what you go through. I think it's just so valuable. And these are the things that people will never learn opening up a book or, Googling something. You got to live it. You got to experience it. And as much as we can share with them, that's the beauty in all of this.
Yeah.
It's cool.
No, I'm a big podcast listener, like a big business. Like I like to listen to podcasts like this too, just because it helps you to know that there's like other people struggling with the same things, and you're just like, oh yeah, like that is real, like they're feeling that too. So yeah, I think that's cool.
Yeah, like you said, like it's lonely, and it's nice to know that you're not alone.
Yeah,
you're not the only one. I remember a horror story of mine where I woke up one day and I was like, we have all these receivables of like, clients I need to pay, but I have no money and I can't make payroll. It's like, what do you do? And it's like, in my head, I was like, this is the first time I experienced this. I'm like, I'm the only person in the world that has this problem. Like, I made a huge mistake. And it's like, call my uncle, who's one of my business partners. He's like, nah, man. He's like, call the bank. He's like, get a line of credit. He's like, it'll be fine. I'm like, okay, but like where school never taught me that. Like, who was the teacher that said like, oh, like, learn what a line of credit is, learn how to like, do X, Y, Z. It's like, they don't teach you that.
Mm-hmm. And also just like, maybe if you didn't have your uncle to like talk to, you might have just been like, that's it. I'm done.
I'm done. I'm done.
But because you just like kept on going. And I think that's like literally what you just have to keep doing. Like there's going to be roadblocks. There's going to be humps. There's going to be things that make you be like, nope, I'm done. I'm not doing this. But you just got to keep on powering through and being like, I can do it. That
Absolutely. Was almost like the piece of advice.
Yeah.
Right.
It's we're almost just about time here, but like that theme about just keep moving forward has been a common thing, and like we'll get to like the last question we always ask before we wrap up the show, but I mean countless people that we've interviewed have said that same thing. So I'm gonna ask both of you the same question. You can kind of give both of your advice, but the last question we always ask before we wrap things up is if you give one word of advice to a young entrepreneur or someone who wants to start a business, what would that be?
One word. Do you have a word?
One word?
Is that what you said? One word?
Or one sentence, or like.
I mean, this is like corny or whatever, but I think like the word that comes to my mind is like hustle. Like if you want it, you have to be willing to give it what it needs. You have to be able to hustle. Like you're tired, you don't want to wake up, too bad. Get up. Like, I don't know. There are days where you're just like, everything is bad. You just got to push through. I forget what the word is, but it's like, when you're not motivated, you're like dedicated. I don't know if that's the quote, but like you have to have like I don't know what the word is, but you just have to keep going, even if you don't want to.
And eat a bagel.
And eat bagels.
Yeah, there you go.
1 or 2 per day.
Carbo load. Yeah. My one word is carbo load.
Carbo load. When in doubt, eat bagels.
I think it's corny, but I think you do there has to be a part of you that loves it. Like, I don't know. I love waking, there are days I wake up that I am so tired and I don't want to get out of bed, but I know where I'm going and like, it's worth it every day. And we say it all the time. It's just like, what are we doing if we're not just doing it? Like, this is our livelihood. This is our life. It's important that it keeps moving forward. And, if you're not enjoying it, it shows in the end product. 100. For sure.
So true.
And specifically in this industry, I would say that is very important because we're not in it for the money because it's
not there.
But you have to be passionate about it, or it's just like
you can taste the difference.
Yeah.
I like that.
Another one.
Yeah. Stephanie said that out there earlier to a customer. I think it was yesterday or something, and she said, "Yeah, it's made with a little extra love. Each one of our things is made with a little extra love." And the guy was like, "Yeah, you can taste it." She said that. The customer said that. I was like, "Oh, that's so cute."
That's awesome.
We do tell them when they're like seasoning something and we don't have it, because we're just starting. The recipes are like growing and changing. If they don't have a set amount for the recipe, we just tell them to go with their heart.
Go with your heart.
Go with your heart.
And then they're like, "Should we just go with our heart?" We're like, "Yes."
So it definitely does make a difference. You have to enjoy it in some capacity, or it's
Right.
your 9 to 5. You know, it's the grind.
It's cool.
That is
Well,
cool.
you two have been a blast, and we really enjoyed spending the last, hour, perhaps something like that. But we will look forward to more. Want to see where this goes, and we thank you for the opportunity to sit down with you in your kitchen, basically. So this is cool.
Thank you very much. It was great.
Thanks.
All right, hey, real quick before we wrap it, how can people find you?
People can find us at
BeaverBagelCo.com.
Yep.
The market The market on BridgeStreet.com. We were just talking about how we went with a name that was way too long. The market on BridgeStreet.com.
And then both of those have Facebook and Instagram, Beaver Bagel Co. for that, and then the Market on Bridge Street for
You've
is
got
the handle for both.
this fabulous green.
Yes, bright green. You can't miss it.
Cannot
for the,
miss it.
For the market.
And they're right down the street from each other.
Yep. Very
The bagel
cool.
shop is tucked in a little bit, but right next to Vic's Oven. Amazing pizza, by the way, if
Nice.
you need.
A
If
lot.
you want to talk to another
Love
entrepreneur.
pizza. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Your
that's-
next door neighbor.
There we go.
He's been in it for a while, too.
Cool.
Frankly, he
Beautiful.
could have been a part of this trio.
Yeah, he's been with us every day. I'm surprised he didn't walk in. but-
He's our Kramer, we say.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. Cool.
Well, that's good. Well,
Yeah.
listen, again, we thank you for the time, and look forward to hooking up with you again.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Very
Thanks,
you.
guys. Appreciate it.